Towards the end of last year, there was a petition to call for a general election. It got over 3 million signatures. It stated that the Labour government went back on the promises that they laid out in their manifesto leading up to the last general election. As with how these petitions typically go, it was debated in Parliament in January of this year, and the government responded with their usual generic, well, we are working to fix the foundations to rebuild Britain. There has been a more recent petition that's been calling for a immediate general election. It's getting a lot of attention with over 750,000 signatures as of the making of this video. The government also responded to that petition with the exact copy and paste response that they did with the last petition that got over 3 million signatures. One thing is for certain, everybody wants Starmer out, and it seems like he has pissed off people on every side. When Boris Johnson faced calls to leave, 906,000 people signed up. Rishi Sunak, it was a measly 288,000, but here Starmer has had almost 4 million signatures across 2 different petitions within a span of 6 months, and these are all people who want him out of office. Now, this isn't your standard government is bad whinging. This is insane levels of anger from ordinary people who feel completely betrayed by his government. We're talking about pensioners who have voted Labour their entire lives, farmers who trusted his manifesto promises, and working families who believed the lies about protecting their paychecks. In this video, we'll be discussing what happens when a government like Starmer's systematically destroys every shred of trust that the public had placed in them. On the 4th of July 2024, Labour wins with a landslide promising change and hope. On the 29th of July, Rachel Reeves stands up and condemns 10 million pensioners to cold homes and rationed heating. 25 days, that's how long Labour's compassion had lasted. What's crazy is that a lot of these Labour MPs are the same politicians who spent years attacking Conservatives for supposedly leaving pensioners in the cold. Age UK's research found that 77% of pensioners spent their winter fuel payment directly on heating. Now, 67% say they'll heat their homes less than they'd like, 43% are going to bed early rather than turning the heating on, and these are 80-year-olds choosing between staying warm and eating properly. Labour MPs were reportedly in tears when forced to vote for this cruelty in September. Now, good, they should be crying because they betrayed the very people who kept the party alive through decades of opposition. Pensioners who knocked doors, donated their pensions, and voted Labour through thick and thin, this is how they were repaid. Then we have the lies within their manifesto. Take the national insurance bombshell. Labour's manifesto couldn't have been clearer. Labour will not increase taxes on working people, which is why we will not increase national insurance. This wasn't them saying that we'll try not to increase it. This is them categorically saying that they are not going to increase national insurance. But then October 30th, 2024 rolls around and boom, employer national insurance rockets from 13.8% to 15%. 76% of this cost gets passed straight to workers through lower wages. Rachel Reeves had the audacity to claim that this didn't break their promise because it was on the employer end and not the employees, as if workers are too stupid to understand basic economics, as if they wouldn't notice their pay packets shrinking after businesses pass on the costs of increased national insurance. Now, this isn't even going into the asylum hotel fiasco that is currently going on, as they promised to end asylum hotels and to save billions in taxpayer money. Well, what actually happened? More hotels have opened, 14 additional properties started housing asylum seekers, and the total went from 29,585 people in hotels when they took office to now 32,345 by March of 2025. This is a 9% increase when they were promising to end the practice entirely. Then you have the farmers' inheritance tax, perhaps the most cynical lie of all. Environment Secretary Steve Reed explicitly stated in 2023 that the government had no intention of changing agricultural property relief. The farmers had believed him and they voted accordingly. Now there's going to be a 20% tax rate which will apply to agricultural assets over £1 million. Each of these broken promises follows the same pattern. You first make the commitment, then you win over the votes, then you claim circumstances have changed, and you've basically tricked the entire population. And in my opinion, you're not serving the people, you're actually committing fraud in order to gain power. When Labour took office, they didn't just inherit the Online Safety Act from the Conservatives, they actually weaponized it into something genuinely terrifying. Labour has turbocharged this legislation into full-blown authoritarianism, as you wouldn't be wrong in calling Keir Starmer Keir Stalin. Section 179 of this act creates criminal offences for sending messages messages that contain false information that might cause non-trivial psychological harm. So let this sink in. You can now be prosecuted for hurting someone's feelings if the government decides your information is false. I mean, who is going to be the arbiter of what is true and what is false? And this is coming from the same government who has lied through their teeth and has gone back on nearly every manifesto promise. Section 122 of the Online Safety Act is even more sinister, as it reserves powers for the government to scan encrypted private messages once technology becomes available. Now, this isn't about catching terrorists, this is about mass surveillance of ordinary citizens' private conversations, as this section of the Online Safety Act has been dubbed by individuals as the spy clause. The real-world impact is already frightening, as parliamentary speeches about grooming gangs got blocked behind age verification, protest footage is going to disappear behind censorship walls, and we're rapidly becoming a country where discussing politics requires permission from the state. I don't think anybody embodies Labour's extremism better than Technology Secretary Peter Kyle. When he was challenged about the act, this dangerous fanatic declared, "If you want to overturn the Online Safety Act, you are on the side of predators. It is as simple as that."
If you want to overturn the Online Safety Act, you are on the side of predators, not those who want to keep children safe.
Kyle doubled down on Sky News, claiming that anyone who is opposing the act supports PDF files.
Nigel Farage is already saying that he's going to overturn these laws. You know, we have people out there who are extreme pornographers, peddling hate, peddling violence. Nigel Farage is on their side. Make no mistake about it, if people like Jimmy Savile were alive today, he'd be perpetrating his crimes online. And Nigel Farage is saying that he's on their side.
It seems like this Online Safety Act has been created to silence critics rather than to protect the children.
Please do the right thing, because every time you prove your age, you keep children safe across Britain.
When VPN apps topped the UK App Store's charts after age verification had launched, the government's response wasn't reflection. It was urging citizens to stop finding a way around by using VPNs, as they considered banning them entirely, and they were making users of VPNs feel guilty, stating, "Think of the children before using these workarounds."
Everybody who's out there thinking of using VPNs, let me just say to you directly, verifying your age keeps a child safe, keeps children safe in our country. So let's just not try and find a way around. Just prove your age, make the internet safer for children.
They want to monitor every digital exchange within Britain. Ministerial resignations from Labour have become a weekly occurrence. Louise Hay resigned as Transport Secretary after her criminal conviction, which Starmer knew about when appointing her. Then you have Tulip Siddiq, who quit as Anti-Corruption Minister while being implicated in £3.9 billion of embezzlement allegations. The irony of an anti-corruption minister who is neck-deep in corruption scandals perfectly captures the current state of the government and their morality. Just this month, we saw Rushnara Ali's resignation as homelessness minister. Her crime was evicting 4 tenants and then jacking up her rent by £700 a month while supposedly fighting for homelessness. The minister for homelessness was literally making people homeless for profit. The most damning resignation came from former Labour MP Rosie Duffield. Her resignation letter over the freebie scandal cut to the bone. She states, "I'm so ashamed of what you and your inner circle have done to tarnish and humiliate our own proud party." She speaks about how sleaze, nepotism and apparent avarice are off the scale. When your own MPs are abandoning ship over corruption, you've truly lost the moral authority to govern over the country. The numbers also don't lie, and these are pretty apocalyptic for Labour. Starmer's approval rating has crashed 46 points in just 13 months, from neutral territory to -46. This is the lowest ever recorded by YouGov. No Prime Minister in modern history has collapsed this fast or this far. The electoral picture is pretty devastating. Reform UK is now leading multiple polls. When a party that didn't exist 5 years ago is outpolling the government, you're witnessing political realignment in real time. A big topic within the UK is immigration policy, and the public's satisfaction with Labour's immigration policy has hit historic lows, with 69% saying that they are dissatisfied, with only 9% being satisfied. These are the worst figures ever recorded. Immigration has become the top public concern at 38% for the first time since 2016, while Reform UK is now the most trusted on the issue at 37% against Labour's pathetic 25%. Labour promised to smash the smuggling gangs and to stop the boats. Instead, over 50,000 migrants have crossed the channel since they had taken office. This is a 47% increase from the same period under the Conservatives. The asylum hotel scandal perfectly captures their failure, as they promised to end these expensive arrangements and to save taxpayers billions. The reality is 14 additional hotels opened, housing numbers increased by 9%, and costs continue spiraling at £4 million a day. Their response to all of this chaos has been by maintaining the exact policies that they previously condemned. The Illegal Migration Act 2023 stays, the Nationality and Borders Act 2022 remains, and they've even introduced harsher measures, including permanent citizenship bans for irregular arrivals. Their economic policies have also been equally disastrous. There's been this mythical £22 billion black hole, which has become justification for the largest tax rises since records began. Capital gains tax has increased from 10% to 18%, and for the 20% threshold it's increased to 24%. Stamp duty on additional dwellings has jumped from 3 to 5%, and VAT has now been slammed onto private school fees. Each rise is breaking the promises that they had made in their manifesto, if not breaking the spirit of the public. When you promise one thing to voters and then immediately go back on your word, you're not governing by consent, you're actually ruling through fraud. Parliament will be debating this recent petition with over 750 signatures sometime in August. But their response is going to be predictable. They'll claim that they have a mandate that they need to follow, they're going to rebuild Britain, they're going to ignore all of their broken promises, and they're going to carry on regardless of the outcry from the general public. These petitions that people can make to Parliament give us this false sense that we're living in some democracy. But if all of these petitions that have such insane responses are met with generic answers and no action being taken, then what is the point of all of this? The illusion has finally been lifted. These online petitions don't matter in the slightest. When millions of people can coordinate to demand change and it results in nothing, it's impossible to ignore. Once again, we're questioning, do we really live in a democracy? Now, we've reached the point of the video where I want to hand over the discussion to all of you. What do you guys think about the failings of the Labour government? Do you guys want Starmer out as bad as everybody who has signed the petitions on the Parliament website? Do continue the discussion in the comments, and lastly, thanks for making it to the end of this one, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video.
A massive thank you goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for helping to make this video possible. If you also want to support the channel and see your name in the end of my videos, then check out my Patreon, which has loads of perks like early video access and so much more. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.